guys, it's Way here, and today I'm going to bring you guys my FIFA 18 September Player of the Month investment guide and predictions, covering all the players who are most likely to win the award and all the investments I would recommend you guys getting to make yourself thousands and thousands of coins when the Player of the Month SBC is released, which should be around about a week or so into October. The nominees for the award are normally released by the official Premier League page on their website shortly after the final game week of each month. So in this case, it's going to be the 30th and 31st of September. So bear in mind, we do still have one match coming up for all the players in this video, and all the other players who aren't included in this video. You never know, someone could have a really good final match and score a load of goals and could potentially come into the equation for the Player of the Month award for September. But bear in mind, we do still have that final week coming up. But what I would recommend doing is making your investments early, because they're going to rise up a lot in price. So if you guys get them now, you're going to be able to make even more profit. And the players you're going to see in this video are extremely likely to be the three that are most likely to win the awards, and that is unless there's a big upset and someone comes along and scores like 4 goals in the final match of September. So I would recommend going and getting all the investments I'm showing you in this video. Depending on your budget, I've got plenty varying from about 500 coins all the way up to about 30,000, so plenty of ones for you guys to get. And we're also going to be covering my predictions as well, who I think is most likely to win the award. And watch until the very end of the video for me to actually explain exactly when to sell your cards and any other potential questions you guys may have. I'll be answering all of those at the end of the video. But before we do go on into the predictions, if you guys do want to get a £10 Xbox or PlayStation gift card, I will be giving away for you guys to go and get some FIFA points on the new game. All you need to do is leave a like, leave a comment down below, and subscribe to my channel. Without further ado, let's go on into the predictions for the September Player of the Month award. First up, we've got the current favourite for the Player of the Month award, and that is Sergio Aguero, the top scorer from this month with 5 goals and the joint top scorer in the league with 6 goals overall. Also has managed to get 3 assists in this month, and he's had a very good month, as have Manchester City. And I do see one of 2 City players being the most likely to win the award. There is also another player who plays for Chelsea that you guys will be seeing in just a moment. But currently Aguero is the top scorer from this month. You never know, that could change going into that final match week. And City have won 6-0, 5-0 and 5-0. So those massive wins, I really do see a City player winning just because of how good their form has been. He's ended up scoring a hat-trick and got an assist against Watford in a 6-0 win, and also got a goal and an assist against Liverpool and a goal and an assist against Crystal Palace into 5-0 wins. So he has been instrumental to Manchester City's success, and having the joint most goals in the Premier League at the moment, having the most from this month, and also having 3 assists, which puts him near the top of the assist charts as well. I definitely see Aguero being the current favourite, and unless someone has a really big performance going into the final week and scores maybe a hat-trick or something like that, I don't see anyone dethroning Aguero, and I think he is definitely the most likely player to win the award. So he is someone I would definitely recommend getting some investments for, and I will be covering those in just a moment. Next up is Aguero's teammate Leroy Sané, and he has had a very good month so far, netting 3 goals and getting 2 assists. 2 of those goals coming against Liverpool, so that is definitely something to bear in mind. A big game. City have played the biggest they've played so far, and they absolutely blew Liverpool apart, and they've just dominated every single game they've played so far, scoring so many goals, and they haven't even conceded a goal this month in the league. And that makes me think that a City player is just so likely to win the award. But it is going to come down, I think, to the final week and the final game of this month, because City are playing Chelsea, and 2 of the players who I think are most likely to win the award play for City, and the other one plays for Chelsea. So whoever comes out on top, whoever plays best in that game, I think is most likely going to win the award. Another City player though to bear in mind is David Silva. 4 assists for him, so if he gets a few more assists, or maybe he gets a goal or 2 in the Chelsea game, he could come into the equation too. But Sané has been very good. He got a goal and 2 assists against Crystal Palace. He got 2 goals against Liverpool. I don't think he is as likely to win the award though as Aguero, has outscored him and out-assisted him, but still I think he definitely does deserve a mention. Finally, we've got Alvaro Morata from Chelsea. 4 goals for him in September, including a hat-trick against Stoke on the weekend. Also managed to get a goal in a 2-1 win against Leicester as well. Now, I think he's pretty likely to win the award, and it is going to come down as to that final week. It depends. If he scores 1 or 2 goals against City and Aguero or Sané don't score, I think he's going to win the award. If Aguero scores 1 or 2 and maybe Morata scores 1 or 2, I think Aguero is going to come out on top. It depends who wins that game. It depends who plays best in that game. But I think Morata definitely deserves a mention. 4 goals, putting him as the 2nd top scorer so far in the month, and the joint top scorer in the league with Aguero with 6 goals. Also with Lukaku up there as well on 6. I think Morata definitely does deserve a mention, but I think it is going to come down to the final week with Morata, David Silva, Sané and Aguero all being in contention. But I think definitely the main ones being Aguero, Sané and Morata. So those are the players, those are the ones I think are most likely to win the award. Personally, I'm going to be going with Aguero Aguero, and I hope he does win because that card would be unbelievable. He's already had an inform on the game, so it would be like 92 or 93 rated. But with those out of the way, let's go and take a look at all the investments that I would recommend you guys going and getting to make yourself a load of profit when this SBC is released. So we're going to be starting off with the overwhelming favourite, and that is obviously Sergio Aguero. I'm going to be covering a lot of different routes with these investments. As I said in the intro, you never really know what EA are going to do, and there's a lot of different options, so I'm just going to try and cover the most I can, and you guys should do the same so you can make as much profit as possible. So we're going to be starting off with his nation, obviously an Argentinian player, so you want to get some Argentine players, and I've gone with Perez as the first one. He's an inform, and I think it's not 100% guaranteed you're going to need an Argentine inform, simply because other than Dybala and Aguero, who are massively expensive, Perez is the only one on the game, so I doubt EA would do something which needs just one specific card really, because no one's going to be putting Dybala or inform Aguero into an SBC. So I think this card here is likely to go up in price just because of the hype around it. He's an Argentine inform, and also the fact he's 10,000 coins, so complete discard price, and it's in the first team of the week. So this is a no risk investment. You can get this card, and he's going to go up in price no matter whether or not you need this card for the SBC or not, just because he's in the first team of the week of the game. So for 10,000 coins, you really can't go wrong picking him up. We're also going to want to cover some high-rated players from the Argentinian nation. So I've gone with Rulli, and he costs 1.4k right now on the market, and also Garay, only 1.7k, is a non-rare, 83 rated. Anyone from 83 or higher really is a good investment for nations. You can get some really good cheap cards there. Next up, obviously, as a Manchester City player, you do want to get some Manchester City cards, and these are also going to cover any Premier League options. So even if Aguero doesn't win, which I just don't see anyone else really winning other than him, but if someone else does win, they're going to be in the Premier League. If you need any high-rated Premier League cards, these are also going to cover it. So I've gone with David Silva, who I packed. He's about 20,000 coins. He's a really good one to go with. And then also I've gone with Bernardo Silva. He's the cheapest 84 rated card in the Premier League and plays for City. Two of the most likely players to win this award are playing for City as well, and he costs like 5k. And also this guy is going to probably get a ones to watch card, and this card will then go out of packs for a week and will rise in price. So Bernardo Silva is one of the best investments you guys can go and get. So I would recommend getting some Manchester City players. Also just get a few other players from the Premier League who are quite high rated, so anyone from about 82 or higher should be good. Schneiderlin's a really cheap 83 at 3,000 coins, and you've got 82s like Williams for just 1,000, so some really good Premier League options. Then you want to cover the teams he has scored against and played against this month. So he went ahead and got an assist and a goal against Crystal Palace, so you don't have to get Kabay, just get one of the higher rated players from one of these teams. So you could go with Benteke, for example, go with someone who's quite cheap, around about 80 rated, maybe 79, or just as high rated as you can, as long as they're quite cheap. So Kabay's a good one. Obviously played Watford as well, winning 6-0 in that game, got 3 goals and an assist. So I've gone with Prodal, you've got Pereira, you've got loads of other players, but I would recommend covering that. And then finally Liverpool, he ended up getting a goal and an assist against them. So I've gone with Klavan, and again there's loads of different options here. And then you want to cover his past clubs, and those are Atletico Madrid and Independiente. So Gaetan is a really good one for this because he's like 1.5k. He's Argentine, 83 rated, and plays for Atletico, so that's a really good one. I've gone with Savic just as an example here. 82 rated, really cheap, and then obviously playing for Independiente. There aren't too many cards, but I went with Gigliotti just because he's one of the few goal cards playing for that team. I'm not sure if you will need any cards from those past teams, but if you do, you're covering those options. And if you go and get just a variety of these cards, you should be able to make plenty of coins if Aguero is player of the month. Next up is Aguero's teammate Leroy Sané, and you will see a lot of the investments I'm picking up for him are similar to Aguero's, so if you cover both of those options, if Sané wins or if Aguero wins, you're going to be covered, but we have got a few extra investments as he is obviously playing for a different nation as a German player. So we start off with the Germans. Kimmich is a very good one to get. He's about 25,000 coins on the market right now. For a German, 84 rated inform, that's not too bad at all. One of the best right backs in the Bundesliga as well, which makes him a good investment, especially as he is from the first team of the week of the game. So he's going to rise up because of that, and also the fact he's quite a high rated German inform. If people do want to go and invest for this SBC, he's going to be one of the main options, and the hype around that is going to increase his price. So even if you don't need this card, you can sell into the hype before the SBC comes out, and you can make some good coins that way. But he's going to rise up just because he is in the first team of the week of the game. That happens all the time, so you can get this investment, and it's a good no risk one there. We've then got some just high rated German cards. I've gone with Hervedes and Trapp, two very cheap ones. Hervedes is about 2,000 coins, and then Trapp is around 1,000, so you can get some good cheap ones there. You then want to cover Manchester City, so I've again gone with Silva and Silva, so the two Silvers there. Bernardo Silva is such a good investment, guys. I really can't recommend him enough. I'm going to be going and getting like 10 of him probably, and just keeping them on my transfer list. Again, we've got the high rated Premier League cards, 82, 83s, anyone higher than that is going to be perfect. He played the same teams as Aguero, so obviously Crystal Palace, Liverpool and Watford, but then for the past clubs he played for Schalke before coming to City, so I would recommend going and getting just some very cheap cards. You can get Bentaleb, 80 rated, he's a non-rare, he's like 400 or 500 coins, so you can't go wrong with him. And then I've gone with Maya as well, so a few decent ones there. Again, if you go and cover the options with the players from the teams they've played against and also the City players and the players from the Premier League, you're going to be covered if Aguero wins, if Morata wins, or if Sane wins. And then with some of the German options and some of the Schalke options, if Sane does win, you'll be making a load of profit. Finally, we've got Alvaro Morata, and this time the investments are going to change slightly because obviously playing for Chelsea, he's not only played different opponents throughout the month, but also has his Chelsea teammates rather than the two previous players who obviously play for City. So we're going to be covering a few Chelsea investments in the video too. We start off with his nation, and that is obviously Spain, and Informed Jalquin is a great investment. You can get him for just over 10,000 coins, and he's pretty much discard price. He's not going to drop down anymore. He can't drop down anymore. He's only going to rise in value. So if you get him now, you're going to make some good profit on him. Not only is he obviously going to go up because of the Alvaro Morata potential player of the month hype, but also just the fact he's in the very first team of the week on the game means he is going to rise in value, as he is quite a rare card. We've then got a few gold cards, so Vitolo and Ruiz are two of the ones I would recommend, 82 and 83 rated. If you can get anyone from these ratings or higher for cheap, you should be good there. There's loads of different options. And then for Chelsea cards, there aren't really too many 83s, 84s and 85s like with the City cards that are cheap. You've got people like Bernardo Silva, Otamendi, Edison, and those cards that are about 5,000 coins or less for City, whereas with Chelsea you've got people like Pedro and Willian who are well over 20k. So I'd recommend going with some slightly lower rated cards unless you've got the coins to go and get people like Fabregas who are about 25k for an 86 rated card. But if you get Christensen and Batshuayi, you can get them for about 2,000 coins, so some very cheap cards there. And then for the Premier League cards, go with high rated ones, and if you go and get people like David Silva and Bernardo Silva, they're going to be awesome because they're going to cover any Manchester City options, any high rated Premier League team options, and they're just very good high rated cheap cards. Bernardo Silva is the 84 rated card that's the cheapest in the Premier League right now, so if you go and get him, you're going to be covering loads of different options. And also David Silva, if you need a high rated Spanish team, he's also going to cover that for Morata, as well as a high rated Premier League team or a Manchester City team for any Manchester City players. And then finally we've got the teams he's played against this month and his previous club. So his opponents were Stoke, Arsenal and Leicester, and I would recommend going and getting 2 or 3 cards from each of those teams. You can go and get people like Butland or Shaqiri from Stoke, they're good ones. People like Granit Xhaka or Ramsey, some cheap high rated cards from Arsenal, and then you've got people like Mahrez and Schmeichel who are pretty cheap and quite high rated from Leicester. I would recommend going and getting just 1 or 2 of those cards, and you should be good if you do cover that option there. And then finally, obviously used to play for Real Madrid, so go and get 1 or 2 of Vasquez, Casilla and Nacho Fernandez. They're the 3 highest rated players who are quite cheap. If you go beyond that, you're going up to people like Asensio, people like Benzema who are really expensive. If you go below that, they're just too low rated really. So those 3 cards, just go and get 1 or 2 of each of them and you should be good. Vasquez is so cheap, he's like 800 coins for an 82 rated card, which is pretty good there. Casilla is just 750, so go and get just a couple of those to cover that previous club option there, and you should be good if Morata goes ahead and wins the award. So there we go guys, that is going to be the end of the investing, but I've got a few final things to cover before finishing off this video. Firstly, I'm recording this on the 24th of September and the final match week is the 30th, so we've got 1 more game coming up in the month and it could all come down to that. If Morata scores 2 or 3 goals and Aguero blanks, he's probably going to go to the forefront of the favourites to win the Player of the Month award for September. If someone like Lukaku comes in and scores 3 or 4, he's probably going to get propelled up to the forefront as well. So you never really know. It's all going to come down to that final game week. But if you guys invest now, the cards are going to be at their cheapest, and you can potentially just sell into the hype around the 28th or 29th before any matches are played. If you want to do that, play it safe and make some easy coins. That is a decent thing to do. But you've got 2 different options when it comes to selling, and that is sell into the hype or sell when the SBC is released. This is the most frequently asked question on any investing video, when to sell the cards. I can't tell you guys. There's 2 options. It's up to you which one you pick, because it's all down to personal preference, whether you want to take the risk and potentially make more coins but potentially lose out on coins, or whether you just want to play it safe and make coins. And that is by selling into the hype. You sell before the SBCs are released. People are going to be anticipating the score challenges coming out. That's going to increase the price of the cards, and you can just sell them there. You're generally going to be making a little bit less coins, but you're not going to lose out. Whereas if you wait until an SBC is released, you could potentially make a lot more coins, but you could potentially either lose out on coins or just not make any profit at all. So for example, if you invest in Spanish players for an Alvaro Morata SBC and he ends up not actually getting any Spanish players needed for the SBC. Let's say you only need a Chelsea team, a Premier League team, and a team with the different players he's played against, and you don't need that Spanish team. Those Spanish players are just going to drop down in value, and everyone who invested is going to dump those on the market and probably decrease the price of Spanish players. And if that's the case, you're probably going to lose out. But if you sell into the hype beforehand, those Spanish players may be a little bit more expensive. So it's up to you whether you sell into the hype or sell when the SBC is released. It's just down to whether you want to risk it, how many coins you have maybe. I mean, if you're investing all your coins into this, you don't want to risk it too much. So if that's the case, I would probably end up selling into the hype. But it is up to you. Let me know in the comments down below if you do have any questions about this. And yeah, I hope you guys do enjoy. Do check out my Twitter, by the way, on around the 30th and 31st, once those final games have been played. If there are any major updates, with maybe Lukaku coming in and scoring a load, or Morata scoring a load and Aguero blanking, anything like that, I will try and update you guys with any future investments I would recommend getting. But I hope you guys enjoy. Leave a like if you did, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Take care.